But before, we were enemies. We were like brothers. I appreciate you having my back. No matter what.
All right, we're back. Real Reviews with another unapologetic, straightforward review. We are trying to get it to you as quick as possible. Today, I'm here with the Dad Panther. How you doing, sir?
Cybertron.
Oh, my goodness. He is definitely in character for this review.
I'm ready.
And,
I'm ready.
Yeah, I see you ready. I see you ready. So, obviously we were talking about Transformers 1. Basically, this animated features the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies, but once were friends, bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. I, unfortunately, did not get to see it as early. I will be watching it later this week. And what we're going to do for you guys now is we're going to allow the Dad Panther to share his highs and lows, give us a spoiler-free review, and then when the rest of the gang can watch it, we're going to come together and talk it all out, spoilers and all, and just do what I'm destined to do, because that is actually a struggle for me on the weekly basis to keep that in. But anyway, Dad Panther.
It's a struggle for all of you guys. All you gotta do is just don't. All right. So, anyways, watch me mess it up on the first part. All right. So, you know what?
Before you dive in, because I just want to know what your initial impression was before you start.
I'm glad you said something, because I'm
okay.
This episode we're gonna do something. It's gonna go crazy. Instead of me saying I'm not gonna do what you want, I'm not gonna do what you think I'm gonna do it.
Well,
so I'm glad you stopped me.
Thank you, because I felt it coming. And I was like, all right, hold on. I want to know before I get this review what your initial impression was, because everybody was a little mixed when we saw that trailer.
Initially, I was like, what the hell is this? I don't want to see it. It looked like it was some weird stop-go claymation type of animation. I thought the cast was good as far as the 2 or 3 voices that I heard. But I was like, this is crap. This is going to be for some kids. It's going to be like, no shade against Kung Fu Panda and stuff like that, but there's certain movies that are 100% kids, and then there's movies like certain Disney movies, or even some range movies where it's like, oh, it's for a mixed audience. It just happens to be in this artistic view. So I was like, this is gonna be crap.
This gonna be crap.
This gonna be crap. This gonna be a rusted bunch of. It might, no, it's gonna be crap.
Well, again, I didn't see this, but I'm okay with getting this review. When my initial impression was like, what? Why?
Right?
Who asked for this? Who asked for these mortal enemies? It's a backstory of them being besties at one point. But okay. Anyway, please, sir, hit me with your highs, lows, or lows to highs. You're starting a nice trend here. Mayte did another review, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to jump on this bandwagon of going from lows to highs. But anyway, go ahead. However you want to do it, sir. However you want to do it.
You go low, bring it up. Keep it together. Keep it collective. The low of this was, we just finished Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. It just came out. I felt like not too long ago. I felt like that was well received. It did well in the box office. I'm like, did we really need that? So that was one. The other thing that I have here is that the second and third movie, it's going to let you know the tone of this.
Okay.
The only other downfall I have is that the second and third movie should be ready now. That's the only, that's it. The only thing I have, the only 2 bad things I have about this movie is, didn't we just do a Transformer movie live action? And
2023.
Where are the rest of these at? Like, can we get these now? If I had to go and tell the people, because I'm the people's champion, if I had to go back and tell the people what you could look at, I could say something like, early on in certain points, they forget the universe in which they created. They're going to give you some rules and some guidelines and some settings. And you're like, all right, cool. That's interesting. And then you'll be like,
did they break them?
And that's it. That's me, like, really trying to, dig and try to come up with something. So let me go with
you. Okay, go ahead.
No, you go. No, you go. No.
So you actually enjoyed the movie that much that those are your only lows?
That's all I got.
Oh, hit me with the highs then. Hit me with.
Hey, here's the highs. I'm not. Listen, spoiler, no spoiler. Fuck it. Here we go. This movie is a motherfucking classic. All right, I'll say it again at the end. I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you right now, it's a motherfucking classic. This has to be the best Transformer movie, period. And I grew up on Shia LaBeouf. Okay, this rights the wrong to the 1989, which was like 38 years ago. That cartoon where you watch, and I'm not going to mention it because it's a dark moment for most of us. This rights those wrongs. Now, this movie takes place in the universe that is Transformers, but it tells its own story. So not in the same way that The Crow, unfortunately, tried to tell a story similar and not make it his own. This movie does a great job of taking a lot of stuff that you're new or old, have an understanding, and it puts it. It was a storyline that I didn't even fucking know I wanted. Now, the part where they're like, see best friends grow up, I was like, the trailer, which is a good trailer, it shows this buddy thing, I guess, to get the kids in, which is great. Because you sit there as an adult, like, all right, my kid's here, they're watching it. And they give you this deep story that is so, because you already know the history of Transformers, I'm not spoiling anything, but because you know the history of these two characters, it gives the feel like Iron Man and Captain America for Civil War. This gives the feel for Anakin and Obi-Wan in episode 3. There are moments in here where, and this is another thing, a plus for this movie. This is made for the theaters. The setting, the sound, to have an audience, and we got a chance to see it early. Thanks AMC for that opportunity. We got a chance to see it early. And in that theater, you could hear people cheer. You can hear people laugh. You can hear the gasp of what's going on. You could see the moments that were happening. And it was just, it made me sit back and say, this, it's like when they say, like, Nicole Kidman's like, AMC, it felt like that catchphrase. She should have came out and popped out and said AMC, and we would have all said it right there with her. The cast did a phenomenal.
Sorry, go ahead.
But you know what? It would have been just scratch the surface. The cast was amazing. There was multiple times where you didn't care about the voice. Once you kind of got used to who's playing who, you started to get that vibe and that conversation that they were just chilling together. Everything was going great. The animation, which I was worried about before, wasn't as stop motion as before. They played with that animation for when it was needed, comedically or intense for serious purposes. For instance, where Bumblebee has moments in it where he's like,
Badassatron.
and there's other, like, I thought that joke was gonna get old, and you had people in the theater saying it at the same time he was saying it, or they were going to hint that it was, and it was such a good job that they did it. And then the fighting scenes were so smooth that you would have to watch it more than once. There was times where a Transformer is kicking something and threw up a gun, and it's like John Wick style. And you're like, maybe this is how these movies are supposed to be done. They weren't wrong in the 80s and 90s with the cartoons and the Beast Wars in the morning, but the live action, it's kind of hard to pull off that immersion. And this did a phenomenal job. You felt invested in the scenario that you were looking at. Like I said, the settings were great. The music was great. The look was great. Trying to think, there was one joke where Bumblebee, the voice from Keenan, what he says is, he says someone's name, but in the joke for Keenan and Peele, it's Aaron when he does a substitute joke. He made that joke about a fucking robot, and you had the kids didn't catch it, but the adults caught it, and it was just like, come on, man! Like this, it was the fact that this is probably setting such a high bar for Transformers moving forward. I feel bad for the rise of the Beast, whatever they have planned going. Now, I will say this without spoiling anything: there is a mid trailer or credit teaser, whatever, to see at the mid, and there's one at the end. So stay for 2 and you'll get that. Also, they've already greenlit a second and a third movie. So that's already in the whole idea with the voices, and you'll see the transition. They've already said, not a spoiler, they're going to transition that voice to the legendary voice of the person who's been basically doing what's his name?
Optimus.
What's the main Optimus? Yeah, so they're gonna transition to that throughout this trilogy. But yeah,
Wow. So, yeah, I had a few questions lined up. You answered all of them. And damn, I don't even need to pull up the rating because you were very clear.
Listen,
That is just classic.
some of the stuff that was like made me feel some type of way. Like when I left the theater, I was like, it made me think about the 2017 Power Ranger movie. And we had talked about that before going live now, where it was like that movie was done well. Maybe not as well to this, but it's one of those movies where we're like, man, we should have got a sequel. When you look back at that cast and what that cast has moved on to do now, you're like, man, why was this just one? Why was this just one and done? And so it's great to see a movie like this, especially with the strikes and everything that's happening in Hollywood, television, and film, where you're in this 3 to 5 year cycle where we don't really know what production for these medias look like. And watching kind of what the Emmys did the other night, this is one of these movies where I completely would be fine with it leaving with some hardware at the end of the day.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. Damn. So now, I'm going to watch it. I mean, you set the bar so high, I'm probably going to be like, whatever. Yeah. I'm just
the blend that's perfect. And we talked about this. If you check another video that we talked about Godzilla and Kong, where we talked about the setting, but really the music being so important into it. But I felt like it wasn't a balance. It felt like the music and the visuals and the titles was the thing. We talked about in another video you could check out, which was Bad Boys, with the new one, where we said Miami and that lifestyle was just as much as a star. But this was a perfect blend where the setting and the music fit the tone, the nods, the Easter eggs for all. You heard Transformers make noise and you knew what character that was. You saw their shape and you knew who they were supposed to be. And they did a great job. And the other part, like Lingo's mentioned before, where it's like movies like this, sci-fi fictional type of movies, it's able to tell a story that is very captivating to who you are right now in this moment as a human. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a storyline for adults that you're going to walk away from this and it's going to have you questioning some stuff, as if they're telling you the climate of what's going on now. And I was like, man, you put that in there perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah. So this should do well. I hope this does well in theaters, honestly.
Honestly, from what you're saying, I'm excited to watch it. I hope it does well in theaters too. And I'm looking forward to when we can come together and do a spoiler talk. Hopefully we can get the whole gang in there because, we got different generations of people that are going to receive everything different. So I'm just looking forward to that kind of talk and that collaboration. So as of right now, spoiler-free review, we have it rated as a classic. Okay? A classic. So we're dropping this before it actually hits for the public. But once you do go watch it, please come back. Let us know in the comments what you feel, if you agree, if you disagree, if you tell us exactly where your rating is. And then also let us know. I would like to know, if you could tell us in the comments, when did you become interested in Transformers? Is this your first experience, or was it the recent films, or are you old like myself and grew up on it in the 80s? I want to know when you were introduced and when or if you did become a fan. I want to know all of that because I find it interesting, like I said, the way certain versions of this franchise have impacted people, at different levels. So I think this is going to start a whole new generation. That this is going to be, when we watched the trailer, JS1 said, that's not my Transformers.
That ass a Tron.
He did say that. And I was like, I kind of got it. He talked about the old school stuff and Voltron and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of get that feel. Like I'm a Shia LaBeouf type of person, Michael Bay, blow some shit up. And the only, I'm trying to find things I didn't like with this movie. The only thing I'm thinking about it now is,
I think is amazing.
If they would have had a robot chilling and then you would have heard like the Linkin Park, and then like a battery falls out and then the credits pop up, I'd have been like, that's an Easter egg. But like I'm reaching to find things that I didn't like with this movie.
And I think that's what's going to make the conversation great. They're going to be people that watch this one and then 10, 15 years from now, something new's and come on. They'll be like, that's not my Transformers.
No, anyway. You can't say it with this. I really feel like you can't.
Right. No, I got you, man. All right. So, Dad Panther, if you don't have anything else.
That ass a Tron.
All right. That's why I figured there was at least one more in you coming out. All right. So, it's the Dad Panther. I'm Legacy Lingo. Real Reviews. We will see you guys on the next one.